Hello guys, it's me again. I'm back. Um, Due to certain circumstances, I can't be in my physical form for this particular video, and I might start to practice this format from time to time when I feel that um, it's necessary when things come up, you know? But anyways, I wanted to say hello to those that do view me and to come back and, check up on my channel and return. Just wanted to say hi. This is a channeled message from Source for you. I noticed that this channeling, this download started to come in later in the hours of yesterday evening. So I knew my time was coming to come back active, to start and to come in and share. So here I am. Triggers is going to be the topic that I have been called to come on here to speak about today. For those of you who are going through ascension, through spiritual awakening, finding out that this once again is a simulated experience that you are in. This is not an actual life that you're living. It's an artificial virtual reality game, like a life game. Okay, so this type of knowledge comes into me from Source, to give you knowledge, to give you tips, to give you, I guess, what you would call hacks, or just, help on your journey and how to navigate through this virtual reality game that we are all in. Okay, some of us are aware of this already. Some of us are becoming aware of it, and some of us completely are still in a state of slumber. So everyone is on a different timeline. Everyone is coming from a different place of evolution and growth. Okay, so I'm going to open this message for everyone that comes across it, because if you do find this message, if it comes available to you, or if it comes into your awareness in some way, it's because there's something here that is going to be of benefit for you that you need to know about. All right, you guys? So here we go. Okay, triggers are very important as well. Triggers can be seen as fundamental blocks of future creations, or what most people in the 3D call manifestations. When you focus on a desire, whether it's good or bad, if you focus it on long enough, especially if you're using your imagination, or if your emotions are involved in a way that is a positive emotion or a negative one, either way, all of these things combined can recreate a trigger pattern in your experience. Okay, that's why you have to be very mindful of what you place your focus on, because this whole entire simulated experience that you're in works on patterns. Okay, so anything that you might have reacted to emotionally before you came into the awareness of knowing that this is a simulation is currently coming up in different ways in your experience. Okay, it could come up as a circumstance, or what I'd like to call a happening, something that looks very tangible, very legit, that shows up as an experience for you. And if you notice very closely, this of course depends with the amount of consciousness that you have, the amount of awareness that you build as you go along on this journey, on this path. You're going to start to be able to connect things much quicker, and you'll be able to see things from the outside in, instead of actually being inside of the simulation itself and feeling like you're just having a real life experience. Okay, I want you to think about your life as a game, because when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, that's truly what this is. You're in your own personalized life game, and it has everything to do with your mind. All right. Triggers, you have to be careful with them, because as I mentioned just a few seconds ago, you can either be triggered in a way that is positive, or you could be triggered in a way that is negative. And triggers can easily create doors to re-triggering toxic cycles, that maybe you held on to or reacted in your past that caused you pain, suffering, hardship, any types of experiences that are not pleasant. Okay. Now, always keep in mind, you were once unconscious. You were once lower levels of yourself, older levels of the person that you're coming to be now. So many times ago, you were at lower states of consciousness or lower levels of consciousness or awareness where you didn't know that you were in a game. And the game was being recreated and re-looped, and even you could even create good things to happen that are completely opposite of what you're used to. But what this comes down to is that you are in control. And when you come into the sense of being self-aware, you realize that this whole entire time, you've been the operant power. You've been the God of your own reality. So this whole entire time, you've been creating circumstances with your imagination, even when you were unconscious. So a lot of this is letting go of those old patterns, especially the really negative, toxic ones that don't make you feel so good. Okay. I'm being called to share, experiences of my own, of when I was unconscious, when I was in a state of slumber. I came to find out that just like all of you, I also have my toxic conditioning. I am in my own simulation myself, and I'm having my own life experience. Okay. One of the ways that my old mindset when I was unconscious used to put me in a state of suffering is that it would kind of like persuade me or try to convince me into believing that I had to suffer in some way in order for me to have something good happen in my life. You know what I mean? So at some point in time, my toxic conditioning patterns of the past convinced me and made me buy into the fact, not the fact, but into the thinking pattern, I should say, of believing that I had to suffer in some way to get something in life. And I didn't know that my mind was looping this over and over in my experience when I was unconscious. So when I became self-aware, I very quickly noticed that I was repeating this pattern that was not favorable for me. So I had to start changing my narrative inside of my own mind, and talking about myself in a way that was better, and in the way of saying that I deserve to have the best experiences in life, that I deserve to be happy and to have a life that I feel is good for me, and that I don't need to, have suffering, that I don't need to have hardships in any way just so that I could get something out of life. So I don't need to work super hard to get things to happen in my life. That's something that I needed to change as I went along. I changed my whole entire story about how I felt that I deserve things, as opposed to in the past when I thought that I didn't deserve anything good to happen to me. So I had to change that. Okay. And that's something that I would, in future videos, I'll probably will focus on how to change your narrative. And there's various methods in which you could do that. The subconscious reacts and responds very positive to repetition. Okay. When you are trying to rewire your mind, you have to start repeating opposite patterns, or start writing things down that are opposite of what your mind has taught you in the past to believe in or to automatically make assumptions about. Okay? All right. There is a part of this that in this video that I need to address. A lot of people are going to wonder, okay, what is this whole trigger thing about? How are triggers formed? Where do they come from, right? I'm pretty sure at this point in the video, you're probably wondering, okay, I get that things could trigger me and all of that, but how does a trigger start? How is it first formed? Okay. Well, a trigger starts whenever you emotionally react to something. Okay. A lot of your trigger patterns came from the past, from the older versions that you used to once identify with. Okay. This mostly stems from all of that time when you were unconscious, okay? When things would pop up in your life as happenings, as experiences, as circumstances. And sometimes these experiences come up in ways that are not so pleasant, not so fun, and sometimes they could be painful. And they could come up in many different ways in your simulation, you know? And usually these triggers are things that you will always remember, that you will always have in the back of your mind. And that's a good way to always identify a trigger, because it always seems to stick in your mind. And whenever something comes up, your mind will automatically take you to that point in time or to that particular experience. Okay? Triggers don't always have to be negative. They don't always have to be unpleasant things, you know. I came to find out when I came into my own self-awareness that you can trigger yourself in a way that is positive as well, by reacting to those things that come up in your life that are very pleasant, that make you smile, that give you butterflies in your stomach, but in a good way. You know what I mean? So in the past, I always assumed that I would always get triggered by something negative. And that would be the only way that I would get triggered by something. But that is not 100% true. You can trigger yourself in a way that is positive. And you kind of get to know that once you awaken. You know what I mean? Once you awaken to what this experience truly is. And triggers become solid. You know, what I mean by solid is that they become a loop, a repetitive pattern that will continue to come up in your experience. But it won't be exactly the way it was before. It will come up in many different ways. It will come into your awareness in commercials. It will come into your awareness in your feed on social media. If you happen to be someone who is very, very absorbed into the social media type of lifestyle. You're going to see it in your social media platforms, wherever you happen to be a member or where you happen to spend most of your time and focus on. Okay, it will come up in experiences with other characters in your simulation. It will come up as things that come up as pieces of mail, emails, talks with friends or characters, experiences, you know, relationships, friendships. It could come up in many different ways. Okay, and when you react, whether that be in a positive way or in a negative way, you are solidifying that particular trigger pattern. So at some point in time, as you go along on your journey, as you gain more experience and more self-awareness, you're going to learn to look at things a little bit different. And you're going to first observe things as they come up instead of automatically reacting to that particular thing that is coming up in your awareness, however it is that is showing up for you. Okay. And these are things that you're going to gain experience as you go along. All of this is going to come in steps, in layers. So have patience with yourself, have grace. And in those moments where you feel that it's difficult and you feel that you are fighting that old version of yourself with the new version of yourself that you are, you know, working on and making more dominant, those days, learn to love yourself even harder. Don't be hard on yourself. If you're having a day where you feel that your old patterns of chatter in your mind are coming in very strong and it almost feels like it's very intrusive, you know, in moments like that, you want to take a break and find in what way you could distract yourself, whether it is to pop in and watch a movie, a comedy, or anything to keep your mind off of those intrusive thoughts or that old toxic chatter that comes into your mind. Because you have to understand that as you are changing and you are letting go of those old toxic patterns, they're going to come up and they're going to try to fight you. It's going to feel like a fight inside of your mind because you're going to be fighting the old version of you and the new version of you that you are focusing on and making more dominant. Okay, so some days you're going to feel like you're having an inner struggle inside of your mind. And you're going to feel like your mind is just, it's nuts in there because your old chatter is going to keep coming in, trying to persuade you, trying to get you to buy into those old patterns that you used to automatically go to when you would think about something or when something would come up in your life. you would automatically go there and make those automatic assumptions. In this simulated experience, as you go along, the more experience that you gain, the longer you are self-aware and you continue to remember, okay? Because this is actually something that you have to place focus on, because this simulation is so real, okay? It feels real, it looks very realistic, that there are going to be times where you're going to feel that you're being sucked into believing that this is a real life, when in reality, it's only a virtual reality. It's artificial. It's not a solid experience that you're having, and it's not real. Okay? But there will be moments at the beginning where you may feel that you're getting sucked back into going back to old patterns. Okay? But these are the moments where you have to remember, this is a simulation that I'm in. This is only a virtual reality game, and it has to do with my mind and all of my conditioning from the past. Okay, so you have to keep reminding yourself. You have to keep remembering, this is a simulation. This is only a virtual reality. This isn't real. This isn't a real life experience. Okay, the more that you remind yourself of what this truly is, the more it's going to stick in your mind. And you won't be fooled by the things that you see around you as being real. Okay, in this simulation, you're going to also come to places where you're going to be at a fork in the road. Okay, this simulation is going to be popping up circumstances, happenings, experiences, and these are opportunities for you to decide, do I want to repeat this particular circumstance and what emotions it made me feel? Or am I going to take this moment to change it and to just observe it and not react to it? And just identify it, okay, and being, okay, that's an old pattern there. That's why this is coming up, because I used to react to things like this. You know, this is where my mind used to place its focus. So in this simulation, whenever any type of triggers from the past come up, take that as an opportunity to decide. Do you want to recycle this again in your experience in a different way? Or do you want to take the moment to observe it and identify it as a trigger and not as something that is happening to you, but that is happening from you? Because remember, everything, either whether it's bad or good, is coming from you. Okay, so don't point fingers at anyone or anything. This is all coming from you, and you're the only person this is all coming from. Okay, remember, perception is everything, guys. Perception comes first, and how you perceive is what emotion comes after, or what action comes after. So in the heat of the moment, when a trigger is coming up, okay, if you automatically react because you forget that you are in a simulated experience, and it's basically a game that you are playing with your own mindset. Okay, it's a game, it's a single player game, so you're only playing with all of the different versions that you have been. Okay, think of an onion. Okay, every time that you have leveled up, you've peeled back a layer. So all of the layers that you have already peeled back are still here with you. Okay, and they're going to come up in different ways from all of the different versions of the you that you once used to be and identify and connected with in the past. So be very mindful of how you're perceiving the things that you are seeing in your awareness, in your surroundings, okay? Because perception comes first, and what you do from there is what comes next. Everything comes down to the way you perceive things and how you are scanning them through your eyes, okay? That's why I always remember to myself that the sense of eyesight is one of the most important blocks in creation of future circumstances, you know, that you could, you know, basically like manifestations that are yet to come, right? That are already destined, but are yet to materialize into your 3D physical realm. Okay, so this is why emotional self-regulation and getting really good at these particular types of skills is very important. Okay, because the better you get at regulating your emotions and keeping yourself in control and keeping yourself stable and solid, the better this experience is going to be for you. And the better you're going to be able to change things around that in the past you created out of emotional reactions. And you can change them, you know, by looking at things differently and learning how to keep yourself stable and calm, even when things around you don't look so great. Okay? But anyways, my time has come now to close this out. I just wanted to come on here and give you just a quick message about triggers and how they play a very important factor in your simulated experience in your own game. Okay, because the more you know about triggers and how triggers are, you know, creating these circumstances to come up in your simulation, the more you're going to be aware of them. You know what I mean? And you'll be able to see them as they come up, but you'll observe them. And the faster you get at identifying a trigger, instead of reacting to it right away. For example, if something comes up and it doesn't look good, it's a bad experience, identify it right away. Just be like, okay, this is a trigger pattern right here. Okay, I'm just going to observe it. I'm not going to buy into it. And I'm not going to give my power away by using my emotions to recreate this loop again. Because you're going to realize how important it is to choose. Okay, choosing is something that in the past, when you were unaware, you didn't know you had. You didn't know that you could choose your thoughts because you were unconscious. You were automatically agreeing and buying into whatever your old conditioning might have picked up on, even the toxic patterns, and you were just creating out of whatever thoughts your mind was feeding you in those times when you were in a state of slumber. Okay? But anyways, guys, thank you so much for spending some time with me. I hope you guys are doing well wherever you are in the world. And I hope that you guys are gaining a lot of knowledge from these downloads, you know, from this channeling that I have been given the opportunity to do. And I am so thankful and grateful that I was asked to do this, you know, to empower and inspire as many people that I can so that they can change their lives in a way that is of more benefit to them. Okay, because you don't have to suffer. You can actually create a life that you wake up with a smile, that you smile more than what you feel depressed or you feel down. You don't have to be stuck with the old patterns that recreated bad experiences in your simulation. You now know that you have control to change anything that you want at any time. Okay? Thank you so much. I will see you soon again. And I hope you guys all have a great week. Take care of yourselves. And remember, you are in a simulation. Don't take it so seriously. Okay? And always remember, this is only a game. And you are the only one playing inside of it. Okay? See you guys. Bye.